Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings and welcome back to March is Women's Month. Mercedes driving private schoolgirl, 18, whose mom is UnitedHealth exec, made terrible mistake that killed man. Pictured here is the daughter of the infamous United Healthcare executive, Anngelina Morton. Angelina. It's spelled Ann with a Gelina. Morton. Anyway, headline says it all. The uh, the story goes into it. Justin Gittings and Tyler Silvas and another individual were out on motorcycles. She looks at a pop-up display, apparently in her car's dash, drifts across the line far enough to impact not one but two motorcycles, causing the death of Justin Gittings and causing Tyler Silvas to have several life-altering consequences, physiological consequences. Chief among those were he now has epilepsy. That he's not going to be able to drive right off the bat because epileptic seizures, you can't get a driver's license. So here's this girl who's a bazillionaire daughter who got out on parole and is just being charged with manslaughter. All right, so Crash was an accident and has pled not guilty. However, the Gittings family said Morton showed intent because police say she was looking at the infotainment center in her car when she struck him. Now, keep in mind, this is on the same level as the distracted driver with cell phones, legislation that's popped up all over the place. That if you're on your phone, you're going to be ticketed. If you're responding to a text, you're going to be ticketed, so on and so forth. It's the same thing. She was a distracted driver, and it resulted in the death and of one man and the permanent disabling of a second man, plus the damage to the motorcycles, and not much mentioned about the third man's injuries. All right, so August of 2024. So this is, let's see, this is March. So we're looking at 9 months ago that she, drifted across the lane in Farmington. What is this, Connecticut? So, yeah, she hit Tyler Silvas. She killed Justin Gittings. And I guess the third person is Emily Scarfo, who were on second motorcycle, leaving Silvas with a permanent brain injury and epilepsy. So not only does he have epilepsy that's going to keep him from being able to be a licensed driver for life, now in addition to that, he has a TBI, traumatic brain injury. Gittings is a former truck driver. Well, not he's former now in the sense that he's, it's posthumous. He's dead. He rode horses, and it took a week for him to die. His family's busted up, and rightfully so. Imagine this is your son, your adult son. Imagine if you're this man's age, early 30s. The devastation, if you have a family of your own, who's going to take care of them? If you have parents and you're perhaps an only child or one of only 2 or 3 children, how that impacts your surviving family. This woman, this Angelina, Angelina Morton, has rich privilege, and she's already out on bail. I mean, yeah, this is 9 months ago, but she lives in a near $1 million mansion. She goes to an elite private school. She had everything handed to her on a platter, and this is the first time that she's ever being held to account. This reminds me of the video of the woman who was drunk driving and killed people and was being supervised in a hospital room by a police officer. And I don't recall if she was handcuffed to the bed or not, but she was panicking about, well, I've got college classes, I've got college. And the police officer, was angry. You could tell that he was angry that no, there is no more college classes for you. You are going to prison. And that's what this woman is going for. And Mr. Gittings' family is indignant that it is only manslaughter. Gittings was from Seymour and lived in Meridian, and remembered for infectious sense of humor by his family and friends. He always had a smile on his face. He was a guy you went to for a laugh. He was just a stand-up human being, is what Silvas said of his friend. He did a lot of things in his life, and he was always good at it. This is somebody who is well regarded in his you know his circle. And his mother said the tragedy was not an accident. An accident is when someone slips on black ice and has sun glare and doesn't have control. But to have control of the situation and choose to do what you do, that's intent. The decision was intentional and it cost my son his life. So, yeah, they're still, they're still upset, rightly so. I think anybody would be. And I think that her getting anything less than the maximum sentence, which is what's going to most likely happen, based in the article, which the link in the description will exist, is going to demonstrate that she'll get away with it, or only have to serve a limited amount of time, if any. We've already seen a pattern where women are charged, but they get a slap on the wrist. Oh, probation. Oh, restriction. House arrest. Maybe an ankle monitor. You have to go to counseling instead of actually serving time. Those things don't work for women. They must be held to account. If they don't, they're going to do it again. They've learned that they can manipulate the system. I mean, how many of us have been with a woman who's been pulled over and immediately goes from laughing to fake crying to avoid a ticket? It's disgusting. I was going to have more stories on this, but I'm going to save the other two for the next video. I don't want this one to get too long, partly because the next two are more disturbing, much more disturbing than this one. This one, depending on where you look at it, you could say, oh, it was an accident. But I believe the mother has Mr. Giddis's mother or Mr. Gittings' mother has a very valid point. And that is, she intentionally went to play with the technology within the car. And, as a personal segue, when I was growing up, I marveled at the idea of having such technology at one's fingertips. But to put it in perspective, my vehicle is 20 plus years old. It has the sliding, the levers for the blender door, the blend motor, for your hot and cold. I mean, they're a pain in the butt to change, and but the blend door underneath the dash that separates the hot and the cold as it's being distributed. Uh, anyway, windows roll up by crank. The hot and cold, is adjusted by a lever and then a fan intensity dial. So, I don't know. I perhaps that's old school, perhaps it's not. I mean, my philosophy is this: when it comes to high-tech cars, if I can't pop open the hood, get behind the dash, get under the steering column, and repair what it is, you know, if I have, I mean, anymore, yeah, you put it up on a lift or on jack stands, but you know, I miss the days of being able to pop up the hood of a Chevrolet pickup and being able to hop up inside there and do what needs to be done. Uh, I like those, and I have a feeling I'm not the only one that feels that way. But going back to this case, you know, Angela Morton, I don't know what's going to happen to her, but hopefully she'll serve some time because this family is obviously hurting and they do want something. They want some justice for their son. And Mr. Silvas, you know, in particular, who is living the rest of his life disabled, deserves justice as well. All right, everybody, stay safe out there. Not only is March Women's Month, but society, as long as it's gynocentric, continues to push that women should be excused from accountability. Don't let them. Push back and demand everybody be held equally under the law. After all, justice is blind.